Hello everybody, Spring Whipple here. Thank you for checking in on Embrace Life Coaching and Fitness. And my topic today is in regard to PTSD, a very, very real, not just for people who are in the military or individuals who may be, have been like sexually assaulted. There's many things that actually can cause PTSD. Any traumatic event, and that could be what is traumatic for one person, could be not as traumatic to another person, or vice versa. So you could have one person who has the same event. Okay, so say we have two people, same event happens. For one person, their interpretation of this event is different than this person's. So while they both may be impacted by said event, whatever that might be, one person might have a little bit more difficult time with whatever happened versus the other person having, theirs. So for an individual, things that could potentially cause that kind of trauma, where PTSD could be involved, would be kind of like I said, sexual assault, of course, war, death is something that can cause it. Any kind of abuse, whether it be physical abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, gaslighting, and all those things can cause people to have post-traumatic stress syndrome. And the thing of it is that if somebody is going through a situation and say, for instance, say a child is going to school, and every day that he goes to school, he gets really badly bullied, or he gets beat up, or something to that effect, right? It's supposed to be like a safe place, if you will, where they can go and learn and be safe and that sort of thing. But say they go to school, they get bullied, and it's a traumatic event. They then go back home, and home is now a safe place. Well, the next day, now they're going back to the same environment, that same traumatic environment. And so it's a repeat thing over and over and over again. So now they have what is called the T PTSD, or C PTSD. So now it's complex, right? Or compacted, because now it's like over and over and over again. And so I'm just going to be a little bit truthful here in regard to myself, okay? Without going into a lot of detail, but being as transparent as I feel comfortable doing here, my childhood was not a normal childhood. I experienced a lot of things that a child should not experience. I witnessed a lot of things that a child should not witness. And at a very young age, I was forced to be an adult, and take on those responsibilities, taking care of myself in a way that I was not ready for in any way, any capacity. But I was forced to, and so these events, along with through childhood up through teenage, adolescent years, young adult years, it was a cycle that I got caught up in, and it was over and over and over again. And the thing of it is I was able to build up resilience because of it. But at the same time, it also smashes down your self-confidence. It smashes down your self-esteem. And when it gets to a point where it does that, and you start having PTSD, things like anxiety, and I'm not talking like, oh my gosh, because anxiety is at different levels, and I'm not going to dismiss anybody's anxiety, because it's very real, whatever level it is. But like for me, taking a test, I would get anxious, and I could feel like it building up in my chest. I could feel it in my throat, but I would get through it. And I remember when I was taking my EMTB test specifically, I needed to pass this test, and there was a whole lot of stuff that was going on before passing the test. But when I went to take this test in this room, I allowed this anxiety to take over, and to the point where I was nauseated, and I literally had to go and like lay down on one of the benches outside the room because of it. So that was some time ago. But then there's been more experiences since then, and over this not this is 2021. So over 2020, from March up through October, there were a series of things that I was experiencing and I was going through, and one of those was really bad anxiety, and it got to a point where I was having full-blown anxiety attacks multiple times per day. So I would literally wake up having an anxiety attack, like hyperventilating, thinking I was going to die, needing to get out of the house, not knowing where I was going to be going, and just tears coming down my face, thinking I'm going crazy. These are things of anxiety. Okay, and I would wake up in that state and just be like, and then start my day. And then something, I would be at work, or I would go to a store, or most of the time I was just go to a store or go somewhere, and I would be there and I could feel it coming on, and it would be, I need to escape. I need to get out of here. One time I was in the store, and they asked for my social security number to pick up a prescription so they could look me up. And just her asking me for my social security number sent me into a panic attack. And I just started crying because I couldn't remember my freaking social security number, something that I obviously know all the time. Could not remember it. Start crying, start hyperventilating. The flight or fight that kicks in with that anxiety attack kicked in, and I ran out of the store. And when I got out of the store, I couldn't remember where the heck I parked my car. And when that happened, it just compounded everything, and I ended up like literally curling up like in a ball on the sidewalk in front of the store, with my hands like over my head like this, and was just crying because I could not remember where I parked the car, and I thought I was going to die. And this happened, and this was like I said, it was happening for months. And so what the result of that was that agoraphobia kicks in, because now you're scared to go anywhere, because you think that I could be driving down the street and just my brain could go. And so you start getting agoraphobia, which means that you have a fear of going out in public. And the reason for that is because you're like, what if I have an anxiety attack? What if I have a panic attack and people are looking at me? What if what if this happens? What if that happens? What if something triggers me that I don't have control over? What if I just start crying uncontrollably? And so literally I started isolating myself, which is a bad thing to do, but it's a protection thing that we do when we go through these PTSD type of situations, anxiety situations. So I started isolating myself into my bedroom. Like literally the only time I would come out of my bedroom would be if I had to go to the kitchen to get something to eat, or if I absolutely had to, could not avoid leaving the house. Other than that, I became a freaking hermit, which, to try to fathom that right now, it just blows my mind. I also started having other issues, super bad headaches all the time, like crazy bad headaches, like behind my eyes would hurt so bad, like turning my eyes left and right. You could feel it in the tendons behind my eyes. My eyes were hurting that bad. Digestive issues, intestinal, stomach issues. I was breaking out in hives often because of it. And of course, there's the whole mental aspect of what happens to somebody when they start doing that, because then on top of the anxiety, on top of the agoraphobia, on top of the isolation, you're now going through depression as well. So this is a horrible thing to go through. That's what it comes down to. It's an absolute horrible thing to go through. If you know somebody who literally does have high anxiety, please ask them to seek help. It's very important for them to see a professional therapist. There's BetterHelp, I think is what it is, where you can do it online. So you could do that if you like don't want to leave, if that's the situation, to do that. Meditation, I really believe that helped me make it so that I wasn't as bad as I could have been. I was in a bad place, don't get me wrong. I had like an emotional, mental freaking breakdown, and that's not an exaggeration. I literally like fell almost to my knees in my kitchen. I had that bad of a breakdown one time. But yeah, so get the help and talk to a good therapist who is patient, who is willing to listen, somebody who you can trust. If you're ever talking to a therapist and at any time you start to second guess whether or not you're compatible with them, personality wise, whether you think you don't trust them or they're not listening to you, find somebody else. I'm with a therapist now. She's the third or fourth therapist, and she's amazing, absolutely amazing. Love her to pieces. But definitely get somebody like that, because what happens is if you don't, like when I was going through my darkest points in my time, I literally was suicidal and ended up calling the suicide hotline 3 times. Thank you to all the volunteers at the suicide hotline and suicide prevention lines. You're amazing people. Much respect to you, because it's got to be so hard. I used to be like a 911 dispatcher, telecommunications person, so I know how some of those calls can come in like that. But definitely, there's such human beings is the, I guess, the word to use for that. But again, so yes, if you're going through that, or if you know somebody who is going through it, ask them to get a therapist. If you see somebody who is starting to isolate, be nosy. Don't just say, well, they're just isolating, they're avoiding, they need their time. I would say be nosy. Show them that you care. You may not be able to help them on a professional level, but as a friend level, you can help them tremendously. If you see them starting to throw away their personal belongings, okay, if they start like purging stuff, they're donating stuff, they're throwing stuff in the garbage that you know is important to them. These are things that I was doing. I used to be a natural competitive bodybuilder, and I did very well, where I had lots of trophies and medals. I placed second in the natural universe, and I had the medals from the natural universe, and I threw them all away. And I had put them in a garbage bag, and I honestly, I think I was hoping somebody would notice and be like, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Nobody did, but I threw those all away. Threw tons of clothes away that I would say were important. But anyway, so yeah, if you see somebody who's doing that kind of a purge, ask them to please just get some help, because more than likely they're in a mental state. A lot of times when people are in a suicidal state, they will start getting rid of stuff, because for them, not only is it a cry for help, but it also, if they end up committing suicide, now the people who care about them don't have to take that on and get rid of it, or whatever. That's my opinion. That's just coming. I'm not an IST, a psychologist, psychiatrist, nothing like that. But I just know from my experience that it was like, what, I don't need this. Nobody else is going to want it. I'm going to get rid of it. And that's what I did. But main thing is that it is very real, and there's a number of things that can cause it. Something that can cause it for you is not going to, it could be something totally different for somebody else, and your perspective of, it's not for you to judge if it's a bad enough thing to be traumatic to somebody. And also keep in mind that what you see going on with a person may not be the entire thing that's happening. Okay, so what's going on in their life, you may have no idea, no clue what's going on in their life. And if they're reaching out for help, give them the help. Even if it's just a, hey, you know what, I'm here for you, I'm here to listen to you, here's a hand, anything that I can do to help you out, I'm an ear for you, that sort of thing. Be a friend, because literally you can save somebody's life who's going through PTSD, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, bipolar disorder, you know, manic depression. I think that's bipolar. Yeah, it's still bipolar. But anyway, that's my video here today. Is you know, just do what you can to help yourself. Get the help if you need it, and you know if you need it, get that help. Reach out to people too. Take that responsibility. Reach out and say, hey, you know, I need some help here. It's okay not to be okay. That's the big message we're hearing right now, right? It's okay not to be okay. Absolutely it is. But if you see somebody who says, hey, you know what, I'm not okay, please don't brush it off. Don't brush it off. It's not always for attention. It's really not. It could be somebody who is literally putting out there, I'm not okay. And while they're sitting here saying, I'm not okay, they're crying. They're trying to find their own breath. And they're trying to find a reason for why the hell did I wake up this morning? Okay, so that's the reality of things. And I'm sorry that it's so serious, but I did actually witness somebody who said that, you know, they're like, hey, you know what, I'm not okay. You know, is anybody there for me? And I'm grateful to say that there were a lot of people who reached out to them and said, hey, you know what, you matter, and I'm here for you. And they did this publicly. I hope they did it privately as well. But at the same time, there were other people telling them to, in not so short words, get a life, or get over themselves, or, you know, if you're doing this for attention, which I just really irritated the bejesus out of me. So anyway, that's my video for today. And I will try to do a couple videos throughout the week. The goal is for 3 a week. If you like the content that I'm sharing, or if you have comments, I really need your feedback. So please go ahead, comment below, like, share, subscribe, whatever. Your support is more than appreciated. And I will talk to you later with a different topic. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.